Hello, and welcome to Marxist Clover, the podcast where we take a critical look at anime. And this is your host, Eric Hobbs-Bond, and with me is my co-host, the Angles Next Door.
Greetings.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Time-wise, it is the day where Justin Trudeau decided to resign as PM of Canada. So that was the biggest news. If we would have recorded last week, we would have talked about how Jimmy Carter died. But it's not last week.
Do you want to talk about Carter?
He's a peanut farmer. As a teacher, I used to like asking questions about him, about who is the oldest living president. And I say, it's Jimmy Carter, the peanut farmer. And I wanted them to remember that he was a peanut farmer.
He was living Anya's dream with Spy Family.
He was. Good callback. Damien, take notes. Take notes. That's the dream. You're living the dream. So this kind of blew my mind. So do you know who the oldest living U.S. president is now?
Let me see. Biden?
It is Biden, yeah.
Because
Clinton is only 78.
Wow.
I know. You're like, wow, that's 78 years young. I'm like, no.
Such a
just shows you.
Sprightly young man.
Sprightly young man. Play that saxophone. Other than that, I kind of got through some Gunpla. I watched some anime. I got through 100 Years of Solitude. We might talk about that some other time. I watched Squid Game. It's pretty good. I've been playing Yakuza Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I think it's just called Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. It's been really fun. I've really been enjoying it. But those games get me. And then I've been also playing a game called Astrobot, which is like you're a robot. It's a robot platformer game. It's pretty cute.
Oh.
One of our friends should stream it, but he'd have to buy a PS5 to do that. But he totally should do that because that would be cool. I also finally got Tsukihime, so I might be playing.
Oh, the actual visual novel?
Yeah. Like, well, part one, because they had a remaster of it where it's only like 2 routes of it. So it's like the Arcade route and a girl I don't remember from the weird manga that, for all we know, was a doujin. For all we know that we read, that was awesome. Oh my god, that was so good.
That was a really good manga.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
It is one of the prerequisites to watching Carnival Phantasm.
Not the fake Go one, but the real one.
Hashtag not my Carnival Phantasm.
Hashtag that is the way. There was this other strange thing that has been getting a lot of buzz recently that I also bought that I'm probably going to pay after the podcast tonight, called My Side, where it almost looks like you're dating a yandere, and it's like a horror psychological game that appeared on Steam recently that a lot of people have been talking about, and people have said it's like Doki Doki Literature Club, and I really like Doki Doki Literature Club, so I'm gonna check it out later.
Any thoughts on the proliferation of yanderes nowadays? There seems to be so much yandere content out there.
I guess we've never talked about it here. I think a lot of it has to do with maybe the desire. It goes back to this dumb thing you've said, actually, where you want somebody that loves you enough to kill you. And I think that's really stupid. Because if somebody wants to kill you, that does not mean they love you. That means they want to control you enough to where they want to kill you. And also,
but I think there is a human desire, at least in some people, to be cared about, positive or negative.
Yeah, I think
rather than having no one care about you in any way.
I think so. I think that's a very fair point. I always think that yandere is strange, especially in the mediums that we experience, because yandere, from a gender point of view, only works in a weird power dynamic and is extremely gendered. Like, I don't know if I would ever want to read a yandere man or boy character, because that would just be, I mean, it just gets, at the end of the day, I know a lot of people that have experienced abuse have been in abusive relationships, that a yandere is just like a childish abusive relationship. In a weird way. I know I'm being kind of mean to the yanderes. I mean, I also was there in the mid-2000s when Mariniki came out, and I got to experience Yuno for the first time, and I'm like, I wasn't even a big fan of Yuno, and Yuno still is probably the best yandere of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, she's probably still the face of yandere.
She's the face, but I also wonder if like people know who she is. Like, they know her face, but is she now just a face and not necessarily who that is? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's fair. Mariniki, for I'm sorry to offend the fans, but I'm not sorry, is kind of crap. It's really weird. It's really dumb. And I don't know, what are your thoughts? Because you have a more unique set of views on yandere and love than I do.
Yeah, no, it's tricky, because there's so much of it that is about gender, and I can't really wrap my head around it yet. Like, it's complicated. It's something about... See, I feel like it's impossible to talk about it without going into a deep dive into 2020's masculinity, maybe into the incel scene, and just also just certain difficulties, just certain issues in gender in this era, and how toxic masculinity works.
Weirdly, I think like when we talk about our Comey Light / like looking at the Gohan's masterpiece, one of the worst shows ever, The Glasses, whatever. Recently, the girl forgot her glasses. And like The Dangers in My Heart, I know they're not yandere, but like we'll get to like what we call the Comey Light genre, or rom-coms for men, where yandere stuff, as like a romance fan, because like I am a hardcore romantic.
Yeah, and like I think we should be clear that when we say rom-coms for men, we're not trying to make a statement about who can watch rom-coms.
Oh, no.
It's more that
thank you.
There is like a certain genre of rom-com that is designed for a male audience.
Yeah.
And there were some fascinating like gender hang-ups that show up in that format.
Yeah, I guess this is another great one that is in this line, is also Angel Next Door, is also kind of like this too, where, I don't know, I guess it's not yandere, but it's just something about the male gaze of romance, and how, because like you and I have watched like creators on YouTube do manga recaps of the first few chapters, and a lot of that stuff is like very weird, like yandere content.
Yeah, like overwhelmingly so.
And that does the numbers, and I'm like, I just can't see it, because yandere for me is just so obnoxious, because they, like, one, it involves like at times like harm. Actually, most of the time it involves harm. And it's more fun to me to joke about, oh, this character's gonna go yandere, but I don't want yandere, because like when people start getting murdered, it stops being a romance.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, as you brought up the rom-coms, those are not yandere, but I think the things they have to say about gender informs this trend about yandere.
I think so.
And I think it's hard to pick at what's going on with the popularity of yandere without picking apart that genre of gender dynamics.
No, it's definitely a good talk.
Yeah. I think, I think this would be an interesting outlier that might tell us a lot about this is Yuri Is My Job.
Yeah. That's true. That is true. That's true.
Yeah, what if we have a gay yandere? No, this seems like a full episode, and I feel like we're gonna have to formulate our thoughts
Yeah,
on this.
but I think it's fair because I'm excited to like play the game, and maybe we'll have more of it, and then we'll formulate it. We'll come back to it. I think it's fair to that. We could bring this up again. I think we got a taste. You've got a taste, audience, of our initial thoughts.
Yeah, our initial thoughts is we don't really know.
What have you been up to?
Let's see, the busy Christmas season ended.
Yep.
So that's nice. So yeah, it's been a while since there's been a big gap in our podcast release schedule. But now that December is over, I should have a lot more time and we should be getting these out more regularly.
Yeah. And kind of have a plug in the pipeline of some ideas of things that we need to talk about from last season still. Like, still need to do one on Suma Show.
Oh yeah, and on Yakuza Fiance.
Oh yeah. The Yakuza Fiance one might be short because I just like that show. I don't know if there's a lot to say about it. It's just I really like that show. No, it was a great show.
No, I think we're stuck between there's a backlog of things to talk about, but there's also some topics that I think require a lot of work for us to actually prepare for the podcast.
Yeah.
And now this yandere idea is going to add to that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we'll have to like write a paper about this to properly like clear our heads about
Even
this.
though Yakuza Fiance is maybe the closest we've gotten to a yandere dude.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, maybe that's like proving that there can't be a yandere guy, because the idea of him being a yandere doesn't strike you.
No.
So maybe yandere is a state dependent on gender.
It might be. Write a manifesto in to challenge us.
Yeah, write a manifesto about why yandere seems to be so popular online right now, and so we don't have to think about it because it's kind of blowing our brains.
Yeah. And with that, we have a few subjects. We have a few overarching subjects of today's discussion. The first wave of new shows came out, and we both watched the first episode of what I almost like to call it the idol drama. When we say drama, we mean like over-the-top drama genre that I just kind of love. Also, it's CGI. This feels like another girls' band cry type of show.
It's like girls' band cry if it took like heroin or something.
I actually have watched Girl Band Cry. I watched it before it went on Crunchyroll. I actually have it on Amazon, so I'm cool.
You watched it when it was cool.
Yeah. So we were talking about Ave Mujica.
Yeah, Ave Mujica.
Yeah, Ave Mujica. So I watched this yesterday morning, and it blew my mind. It is one. It starts in a concert, but it doesn't feel like...
it doesn't feel like one.
It doesn't feel like a concert. And I want to ask you, what were your thoughts about the girl in the chair and the girl talking to the girl?
I was assuming this was like an isekai at that moment.
Oh, yeah.
There's some sort of like magical summoning going on.
Or like a death game, or literally this is like a horror anime of some sort.
Yeah, so it's dark. There's like a new moon.
Yeah.
Barely like shining down a slimmer of light. Our characters are around this chair.
Yeah.
Wearing masquerade masks.
Made out of mesh and lace. To reference.
Yeah.
I've been sending a joke. That joke and reference is that that band made Melt With You. It's like, I'll stop the world and melt with you. And they reference that song. They reference their first album, Mesh and Lace. Yeah, they're wearing like these.
I mean, aren't the good chunk of masquerade masks made of mesh and lace?
I have not watched Eyes Wide Shut, and that's all I know about weird, creepy, erotic masquerade parties.
Yes, so they're in the dark, these mischievous figures talking about waking someone up.
Yes.
and that the moon will wake her up.
Yeah.
And then it becomes the concert.
It does. It's so weird. Like a rock concert. And
Yeah, proper rock concert.
And then you find out, wait, this is a high concept, erotic, masked idol rock group. And I'm like,
it's incredible.
It's incredible.
I like there's a scene where we see one of the fans showing it to their family or friends.
Yeah.
And the friends are just like, that's just the play. That's not a concert. And she has to be like, no, it's a concert.
It was real. It's like, it blew my mind. Also, like, this intro is so weird. Like, we really can't overstate how this does not feel like a normal intro. The only thing that's as weird as it for the season is that I watched an anime, I think it's called I Want to Escape from Princess Lessons, where the OP and ED played back to back at the end of the episode.
Wow.
And that was really weird. I had never seen that before. This I guess is definitely weirder because I still, at this point, even when the concert happened, I'm like, the cover art of this show still looks really silly. It still kind of looks like a death game type of show.
Mm.
For people who don't know, because we haven't made an episode on it, we are not big concert kind of idol group anime fans.
I mean, we do like enough of them now that I don't know if we can say that we don't like it.
Okay, I do think we are part of this really bizarre subset that I don't want to say it is the OG, but I feel we are radicalized by 22/7. Everything will always remind me of 22/7.
22/7 is like 100 Years of Solitude. Like, all magical realism just stems from it.
It is. It has one of the greatest endings to an anime of all time. It also might be one of the most fun shows to have a Marxist critique of. Because the end of it is so good. We'll have an episode on it. Trust me. Like we're big 22/7s. And then there's like a 22/7 sub-universe that we will kind of reference that.
The 22/7 extended universe.
Yeah, it's a lot stranger than it comes out to be. So this show kind of has a 22/7 type of setup. 22/7 basically had a bunch of girls, and then we get to learn their backstory. I don't know if this is like with like School Idol Masters or what other shows are like this, or Love Live, but it kind of goes through it. And this episode went through this one girl who had, I'm not gonna lie, one of the funniest backstories I have.
Wow.
It was so silly. Like, okay, it's really depressing, but it gets to that uncanny valley type of depressing where it becomes kind of hilarious to me. I mean, she is born into opulence. Also, if we did not mention, this is a CGI show. That's why we kind of compared it to Girls Band Cry.
It looks pretty good. Like, I feel like CGI with this and Girls Band Cry, we have reached a level that, say, there was this genre of shows before, but they weren't as good looking as it's become now.
Yeah. I mean, the best CGI show is Kato the Right Answer. That is the only right answer. Another show we'll probably
It is the
another show,
only right answer.
Another show we'll probably watch as well. I mean, talk about, if you never watched it, you're not a perfect square. So, quick thoughts before we go into the summary. Were you confused by who people were in this show?
I mean, the main girl's the only character who actually mattered in this first episode.
And a purple hair, medium length hair girl.
That's true. That's true.
Who was the scamp of the show, and for my opinion, the antagonist of this show. But we'll get to why I think she's the antagonist in a little bit. So, backstory of this girl. She is from a rich family, it seems like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Super wealthy.
Also, I like how blatant it is that her mother collects dolls, and like the whole aesthetic of the band is going to be about dolls.
Yeah, this band is really her getting through her trauma.
It seems like it.
Okay, so her mom dies, and then her father gets fired for embezzlement?
Yes. He's the fall guy. He's the fall guy.
Yeah.
And then the grandfather's like, I will adopt you. You will become my daughter now, child. And she's like, no, I want to go live with my father. And I think there's a lot to say about this dad, because is this dad's life just screwed?
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually kind of surprised he has anywhere to live.
Yeah.
Because, like, I feel like he was so shamed and ostracized. Like, I don't think he can ever get a job.
Yeah, and he had only just lost his wife.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So he falls down this alcoholism spiral.
Yeah.
Or the happiness spiral in Boshidara.
No, it's not that. I don't know. He's just constantly drinking. I don't get how this guy is surviving. And I think what we understand is that it's probably because the daughter, the little money she's able to scrap together, he might be abusing it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, also, like, the grandfather, I think, says before she goes to live with her dad's like, you'll never survive. You're a sheltered child. I think it's the only thing she's able to do. And she plays the piano. I forgot that she plays the piano. And this is where, like, the show stopped making any sense. Like, she was in a band at school.
Yeah, you have to be the culture festival.
Yeah, you gotta be at the culture festival. Then, like, her dad's like, I hate seeing you. Leave. And then she does. And then she has to leave her band.
Yeah, because her dad feels guilty about how much she's suffering and still managing through.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm bringing her down.
Yeah.
So he does the thing where he's mean to her to get her to leave.
And then she leaves her other band and then forms her new band. Because she also had, like, another friend that she met. See, this is why I asked you earlier. I got confused about all these characters that we got introduced to. And a lot of them looked kind of similar.
Yeah, maybe this is a slight fault in the CGI.
I think so.
Animation style.
I think so. I think this is a problem. This is like an issue that was even Girls Band Cry, is where I think there's like brief moments where we actually saw them like in non-CGI, and I thought they always looked better. Not CGI, because you can have more. You could have more. They had more of a presence when they weren't in CGI. It's weird, but I mean, to make a long story short, I thought that was funny. Like, it was just so over the top and ridiculous. Like, I cannot get over the fact that the grandfather basically made the dad the fall guy to get so he could adopt his granddaughter after his daughter died. It's like classic. That is like the most stereotype plot I could possibly think of to do a setup like that. It was great. I loved it. I don't know how you felt about it. I don't know. Did it make you cry? It didn't make me Girls Band cry.
Oh, yeah. Because it's... I mean, you were hinting with the yandere conversation.
Yeah.
Where it almost feels like a backstory designed to explain why she becomes evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm almost waiting and expecting to see, is she going to like turn out to be some vengeful beast?
And then this is where I think my interest dipped, but also I'm like so invested, but my interest did dip, is that we see her with her new band. So we cut to the end, which is probably the most important part of this episode that I enjoy, is that we see the next performance, and I think it's excellent. Like, it is the most bizarre theater I have seen to set up a concert ever, where I'm like, I don't know how it would feel seeing all these like young girls sitting in a chair and being like, these are dolls, and she's just describing them, and I'm like, what is this? What is this bizarre spectacle I am watching right now?
Yes, so they're in the concert, and the medium-haired girl we referenced earlier rips off a mask. Yeah. Which she was not supposed to do.
I thought it was the most evil act I have seen in an anime this year. And yes, I know this year is only, as a recording, you should get the hint, it's only January 6th. I thought it was the most evil act I've seen in an anime all year.
Yeah. I mean, she basically doxed her entire band.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know if I'd watch this band anymore.
Why? Because they don't have the lace?
They don't have the lace. I think that lace added to like the fun homoerotic vibes of the band, and I don't know if it will exist in the same way anymore.
Yeah, because now it's just another band.
Yeah, because
Like another girl group.
Can they be dolls anymore?
Yeah. It's kind of like Sia.
I don't know much about Sia, so you'd have to explain more. Because I don't know if Sia is as big anymore.
I don't think she's as big as she was, but you know, her whole thing was let's create a bit of mystery. Because that's why she doesn't show her face. I mean, okay, it's not like a complete mystery, like there's plenty of pictures around of her face. But she never performs with her face.
Yeah, and I thought, if you're going to go this hardcore into this doll aspect, why blow it?
Well, that's the thing, is this girl woke up and chose violence.
Yeah.
She wanted to basically destroy what the band was.
Yeah.
And create a new band on stage, live, on the fly.
And as the subtitle of the show is, the die is cast.
And she slowly rips off everyone's mask. It kind of reminds me of the scene in The Matrix where that one guy defects to the machines and slowly goes unplugging people from the console, and they're just sitting there, standing there, just waiting to die.
Oh, that part's so sad.
Oh, I love that movie.
It's so good.
The most Buddhist movie I've ever seen. I mean, obviously it is a very Buddhist film.
Yeah.
It's a retelling of the story of the Buddha, which is really cool that someone made a sci-fi retelling of the story of the Buddha.
No, it's really cool. And I don't know if this is a very Buddhist show. It might be, because I have no idea where this is going to go.
I mean, you could argue that they're being reborn.
They are. I like that almost everybody in the audience was like, oh my God, I know that person. There's at least one person in the audience that knew who one of these girls were. And I like that there were people in the audience like, oh no, they're good looking. Also, how does it must feel to be in that original band that she left the cultural festival band, and now this one girl is now in the most successful... Because they're at the Budokan or whatever it's called. They're like at a big, they're at like a big deal idol concert venue. They made it.
Yeah, they're at the top of the world, and now the entire premise of the group is destroyed.
And I'm like, why would you watch it anymore? I mean, if this is like the greatest like performance art of all time, that's excellent. I think the show nailed it. Maybe this will be like the Twin show from a few seasons ago, where the first episode is all you need to watch of this show. We'll probably come back and talk about this show, because I feel like we'll be watching this show, because I just want to know where it goes.
I guess the main question about what happens next is the main character.
Yeah.
Who seemed to have designed and like planned every part about this group in order to like fulfill this grand plan of hers that was a response to her traumatic life.
Yeah.
And now that plan is destroyed live on stage. And how is she going to react?
Oh my God, you are right. This is the setup of a villain. I didn't even measure this part into the aspect that this is her villain era. Like, what if they break up?
Like, she could either become full villain on one end of the spectrum, and on the other end of the spectrum, this is like some rehabilitation arc of rehabilitating her trauma and making her into a happier, nicer person.
I want it to be the villain arc. I think that would be more fun. Also, a lot of the I felt like a good maybe a third of the group was kind of into the doll idea.
Yeah, I mean, the masks probably aren't super comfortable.
No, especially on stage. Like, you probably sweat into that.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think post-COVID, everyone can kind of relate that, you know, it's not the easiest thing to be in a mask all day.
Oh yeah, because like one of them actually wore like the mask over the mouth.
Yeah, I think a couple of them. I think all the members who don't sing.
Oh, See, that's the problem, is that you should have made them just wear the mask over the eyes and not try to silence them.
Those eyes, whose are they?
It's like the second time in a while that we've referenced Chaos Head. 10 out of 10 anime. Yeah, I don't know. I think the show was bonkers and weird. I loved it.
And we're kind of at a cliffhanger right now.
I think it's more fun to speculate what's going to happen next. Looking at the cover art, the purple hair girl looks very mischievous in this picture.
I mean, she is.
I mean, that purple hair girl basically broke the show. And to be fair, at that point, I didn't know what the show was. But she like definitely did something.
Whatever it was, it got broken. We didn't know what she broke, but she broke it.
I'm going to miss like the doll stuff. I thought that doll stuff was like the weirdest thing ever, because like I'm trying to imagine, because I like going to concerts, having that. I'm like a prog rock guy. I enjoy like hearing live recordings. It's like some of the weird stuff that Peter Gabriel would do before, like in between songs and during the concert. Like I'm into that stuff. But this, it's like I don't know how I'd feel about this weird idol group just being this like over the top. Like this is high concept stuff. I mean, on the surface, some people be like, "Well, I'm in like a particular type of band. This is not that high concept to me." And I'm like, for an idol group, I don't think you see stuff like that.
They got mainstream success.
They had a major amount of mainstream success. Like, people were watching the live stream of this, maybe on television.
Yeah.
They were big. And I don't know how quickly they became big. Like, see, 22/7, the best version of this, at least set up that there was a secret facility underneath a zoo with a giant wall that would bring out canisters and that would tell you what it willed it, and it had all this money backing it. See, that made sense. This is just like
I still think
yeah,
this show has a chance of being less weird and out there than 22/7.
Oh, 100%. I think it's going to be pretty basic from this point onward.
I mean, even the first episode of 22/7 was about the main character's kind of sob story.
Well, and the fact that she was poor, because like I said, it's the greatest Marxist show of all time.
It really is.
Oh, that show is so funny. It's great. Oh my god, what a great show. This one is intriguing. This
one has big shoes to fill.
It has big shoes to fill.
It could do it.
It could. I don't know if it will talk about the mechanization that brought them to be famous. That I don't know what got them famous, because the amount of production that goes into this, like I could not imagine going to a cavern club or like just a club, like, you know, from like imagine this in like Bocce the Rock, having the basement concert and having all these chairs and these set up with these people.
The club owner would just be like, "Get off the stage. We have other acts that need to perform. Why are you doing a whole musical in the middle of my concert?"
It's like, I want hits. I want songs. I don't want this gigantic retelling. Also, what an anticlimax. I was really hoping that like there was a like the beginning. I guess I didn't bring it up that there's like vampires. Because like I thought they were about to kill that girl in the first part of the show when she was on stage just sitting in the chair. I'm like, is that person dead? Like, what's going on with this girl? But oh my god, I want to know the arc that brought this to the show. I want to know how she convinced these people. Because also, does she only write the lyrics? No, she writes the music.
Yeah.
I don't know if she writes the lyrics of this stuff. So is she the one coming up with like the stage play aspect of it? Or is like that the lyrics girl?
It seems like she runs everything with like an iron fist.
Yeah.
So she probably has at least like the final cut editorial power.
Yeah, and also the timelines were kind of confusing because it felt like she was writing the music when she was living with her dad, but that might have been for like when she was with the other band.
Yeah, and then maybe she now uses it with a new band.
Yeah. I like to think the cultural festival school was like, I don't know, this is a little weird. Like we're an anime school, but this is weird.
Yeah, imagine performing a play as part of your concert at the cultural festival.
I mean, like, are we getting close? Like, this is like almost like a cabaret.
Oh, it does have a slightly burlesque aesthetic.
It does, yeah. That's why I'm like, this is more erotic than it has any right to be. But once the mask came off, it wasn't erotic anymore. So maybe the label forces the purple hair girl to just take the mask off, being like, we need to end this. You're not going to be able to market you like this forever. Like how, bring up a Spalletti reference. I'm going to bring up my Spalletti reference. It's like how in Spalletti, when he was tasked in his second spell at Roma, a soccer team, was tasked, but with the owners, to basically get rid of Totti and to phase Totti out. Maybe the purple hair girl is Spalletti trying to phase out Totti. And
so she's not hired to lead them to the CVR title.
No,
she's there just to get rid of Totti and take the fall for it.
So maybe that is an interesting detail. Maybe she's the fall guy, much like her dad.
Like father, like daughter.
No, like father, like random purple hair girl that has nothing to do with her dad.
Oh, man.
And basically learning that sometimes you have to learn more about the people, because did the girl actually want to care for her dad or care about her dad, or was she there to take care of her dad because it made her feel better? Was not caring about how her dad was feeling. Also, her dad went to jail a lot. It was kind of, like I said, it's part of the overly dramatic backstory. I find it lols, but that's a thing. So maybe they're going with the parallels with that.
Yeah, and so you're saying the main character has become her grandfather?
Yes. I just realized that's what I said. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's our analysis of the show that could completely be proven wrong in like the first 5 minutes of the next episode, which will certainly air before this podcast comes out.
Something that this will come out in like a few weeks.
Yeah. But we'll treat this episode as the text, and any analysis beyond this particular text is not our problem.
No, it's not. We will talk about Blue Lock. We will. Damn us for actually having good conversations about random stuff.
Yeah, we keep planning to talk about Blue Lock, but it turns out there's a lot of more interesting things to talk about than Blue Lock.
Is this a giant setup to saying Blue Lock sucks? No.
Yes.
We'll talk about Blue Lock. So we could transition, be like, speaking of grandfathers and grandparents, there's one other show we want to talk about.
It's called something like I got married to the girl I hate, or something like that.
I got married to the girl I hate. I got married to the girl I hate. So I'm getting married to a girl I hate in my class. I think this is quintessentially a good-looking show, which means I'm probably going to watch it. It has the right romantic comedy buzz. There's a girl and a guy that both hate each other. I think they're good at school. The show hasn't talked about if they're good at school yet, but hopefully they are. I like that trope. I think it's funny, but we have to talk about grandparents because we want to leave off with talking about grandparents.
I should say, going back to our yandere discussion about that people would rather someone hate them than be apathetic about them. And that is the tension. That is like the whole premise of this trope of the two characters who hate each other, who are going to be romantically linked.
Also, if you don't know from the title, he's getting married. Maybe. I don't know. And it's an arranged marriage, which isn't a surprise from that. But it's like an arranged marriage a la like Love in the Time of Cholera, but not as interesting. I'll let Hobsbawm explain it.
First of all, that's the second Gabriel Garcia Marquez reference today.
Well, you've referenced it, and then I talked about it earlier today. That's the third, actually.
You're going strong. Yes, the grandparents wanted to fuck when they were young.
Yeah. They also don't know if they liked each other.
Oh, yeah. This could all be them retroactively putting their current feelings onto their past. Because basically, the guy's grandfather and the girl's grandmother are hooking up right now.
Yeah. Legit hooking up all the time.
They are having a lot of stamina for their age.
They are.
But they're like, oh, we couldn't have a family together.
Yes.
So what if we have our kids fuck for us?
I just realized, couldn't they just get married and they'd have a family of both of their families?
But they won't be genetically there.
That's true. They wouldn't have legacy.
They want that genetic payload.
You want the family business. Also, the dad is. I mean, the grandfather, the patriarch runs a company. So you want the business to stay in the family, unless
the kids are being financially coerced into this.
Yeah,
I don't really know how they coerced the daughter.
I think this is my theory: is that it's very obvious. I think that the girl may have a past with this guy. Like, I almost thought, like, maybe the grandma knows that maybe at a time, maybe this girl liked the guy and maybe talked to her about that. So she's going to use it as blackmail.
Oh, so we're just stacking trope after trope after trope.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you double down. They probably met in the past, too. Like, come on. And she wore a baseball hat, and she's like, "You're my best friend, man." You're such a cool boy.
That is a great trope.
It's such a dumb trope. It's sad because most of the times it's in really bad shows too. Yeah. Going back to that. Sorry, we got interrupted by the hat thing. No, it's weird. Also, like, if they don't do it, he's just gonna give his company to a dog. And not like any dog, like a dog he like kidnapped from the street. We don't know if that dog was stolen. I think that's a very major question to be asking about that dog. Is that actually a stray, or did he just steal a dog that he found on the street?
That grandpa does seem like the type of guy who would steal a dog. Like, really, these grandparents are coercing children.
They are coercing children. They
like, very forcefully.
They're like, oh, so we're gonna get married after high school? It's like, nah, you're married now. You have to live together. And it's not like A Couple of Cuckoos, which is amazing, when they force the characters A Couple of Cuckoos to live together, where the dog has a house. If you've never seen that joke, that is like legitimately a funny joke. It is one of the best executed like 1 second jokes in anime. Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's actually a house that the dog has to themselves. It's great. It's like bigger than I think the main character's home. It's not A Couple of Cuckoos review. I think it's bigger than the main character's apartment building. Oh, it might be. You're right. Yeah. So live together. They get the spy family. We still haven't decided how to say it. Like, they have to sleep together, which is weird. I always find it weird. Also, like, oh wait, did you finish the episode? No. Oh. Well, what happens? They have to sleep together in the same bed. Oh. When I say sleep together, and like they don't try not to sleep together in the same bed. because they're also afraid that they're being watched.
Right. And they probably are.
Yeah, which is weird.
And at this point, isn't this now sexual harassment by the grandparents?
I think so.
Certainly financial harassment.
Well, he has money and he is doing this for the money. So,
but as we discussed in the previous show,
yeah,
if you grow up in a rich pampered life,
yeah,
the only future that you would have if you suddenly lost access to that world is running an evil masquerade band.
Evil erotic masquerade idol group rock band. Okay, evil masquerade idol rock band.
Theatrical drama.
Theatrical stage. Oh, we should get our friend on this. I don't know. I think it would take a lot to get him to watch the first episode. We should get our friend onto this since he knows stuff about the stage and be like, what are your thoughts on this? How would you?
Because they basically are performing musicals.
On the night of today, our friend the doll was in her chair.
La-di-da-di-da. As I lie on the bench.
It's 1 o'clock. Time for lunch. Fandy-damdy day. When the sun beats down and I lie on the bench, I can always hear them talk. There's always been echo.
Midnight for the cosmic lawnmower. See, that would be funny. But once again, I don't think that would attract the audience they got. Like, literally, so many other idol group bands we've seen in anime have not made it this far. This is like the most 22/7 with like the wall did not get to the Budokan that quickly.
No. So, I mean, did Peter Gabriel era Genesis ever get crowds that big?
I don't know if they did. They were able to tour the United States. I mean, it's not like where we'll get to like 80s Genesis where they'll like fill Wembley.
Right, but this seemed like a Phil Wembley situation in the show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's probably, I don't know how big Budokan is in terms of how many things. I could look it up, but I'm too lazy. But like, yeah, it was definitely a big stadium. Also, like, it felt like the stadium itself, I guess usually people don't have lights on, but it felt like even the audience itself was kind of obfuscated. Like, the play itself was being hidden from the audience. Because, like, you couldn't see any lights from the audience at all. It was completely dark. And yes, that is movie magic, so that's probably why. But it was still weird. That intro sequence of the first part of the show is just super strange. It starts off making you think you're watching a different show, and then it becomes like a weird singing show, like very quickly, and you're like, what?
I'm old enough to remember when this was a show about singing, and back then I was old enough to remember when this was a show about waking up in the moonlight
and sacrificing our friend on stage. It's weird how that intro felt like a weird Utina type of intro, like those weird, like some of those
the transition, the almost magical girl transformation of Utina,
or like the things that happen like when the villains of Utina, or if you can call them villains, are like talking amongst themselves, like the car sequence. Felt like the car sequence.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is why it's futile for us to talk about any other anime in this episode. Because we just can't escape the gravitational pull of Ave Mujica.
We didn't think it would take up this much time, audience. We're really sorry. We also
and sorry for keep going back to it.
It's just so silly. It's just like the weirdest show. It's such a funny spoilers about the end of last season. I'm like, maybe anime was a mistake. maybe I've gotten bored by a lot of this stuff. But now I'm like, I'm back.
You're back.
I'm back. It's like right when I think I'm out, they bring me back in. And this definitely brought me back in.
Well, we hope you come back here.
Yeah. Write a manifesto.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts about yandere. If you have watched this episode, let us know. Even though, again, by the time this airs, there'll be more episodes and half of our analysis will be wrong.
I hope it's all
But
right.
yes.
I hope it's more ridiculous than even where we think it's going to be.
Send your commentary to marxistcrow@gmail.com. And yeah, this is your host, Eric Cobbs Bond, and my co-host,
Engels next door.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night. Or a good day.
Good night.
Bye.
おはようございます。あらあら。あれれ。あらあら。
おい工藤